minutes to that lecture, I remember that day I literally risked my life. Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Hannah and this is the bottom of it. For those who didn't know what the bottom of it is actually an extension of my already existing blog on WordPress. So please feel free to tap the link in the description box to that blog and tap on the notifications bell and tap on the subscriptions bell so that every time I post a new video, you are the very first person to know. But let's get down into this video. What is a Boda Boda? Way back, I did write an article about Boda Bodas. Now, if you're out there and you don't know what a Boda Boda is a motorcycle. And here in Uganda, we call it a Boda Boda. I grew up being driven by my dad since I was a young child, even until now. But yeah, I did. So I grew up being driven around by my dad too. If you want to go to school, he would drop you, he'll pick you. You want to go for a party, he would drop you, he'll pick you. And if I was to use public transport, I would use taxis, but never was I allowed to use Boda Bodas. So I remember there's a time when KCCA, the Kampala City Council Authority, put up a proposal to ban all Boda Bodas from the capital city center of Kampala. And I remember during that time, there were so many people, arguing, yes, no, they should go, they should not go. And I remember I was among those people. But at that time, I was voting for the Boda Bodas to leave the Kampala city, for very many various reasons, because they were known for accidents, they were known for being reckless, known for being roady. So I was like, you know what, let those Boda Bodas go. When I started university and finally got out of my daddy nest and I had to go to school by myself, no more dropping and picking, that's when I actually realized the importance of Boda Bodas in the city center. My perspective changed a whole lot and I could not believe it. You might be asking yourself why my perspective changed. Well, this is because I have been saved multiple times by Boda Bodas during my university, and I cannot imagine a life without Boda Bodas in the capital city of Kampala. Let me name for you some of the situations I've been saved by Boda Bodas. There are those days when there is merciless jam in Kampala, cars are not moving. You can spend an entire hour moving from one spot to the next spot. At that time, I was like, you know what, God, I have to use a Boda Boda, otherwise I was going to miss my lectures. There's another time I woke up late. Oh my God, you guys, you cannot always be perfect. So a time when I woke up late and I had 30 minutes to the lecture and I could not possibly get a taxi or anything. So the best option I had was to get a Boda Boda and zoom myself off to campus before the lecture. And 5 minutes to that lecture, I remember that day I literally risked my life. I was there 5 minutes to the start of the lecture. And the reason as to why I would prefer Boda Bodas to taxis or any other, form of transport is because they are small and they can maneuver through the jam. They can maneuver, and get you where you want to be in just a few minutes. So when I realized how much these Boda Bodas have been very useful to me at campus, I decided, you know what, I take it all back. I take back everything I've ever said about Boda Bodas being banned from the capital city. I take it all back because I was speaking from a point of view that was not how can I say, I did not put myself in the shoes of other people who are not as lucky as I was at that time, or who, but I think before we judge people, what it taught me is that before you judge people, always put yourself in their shoes. Find out, if I was a Boda Boda man and they told me they're going to ban me from the capital city, how would I feel, But at that time, I was really not concerned about that till I reached university. So even as I was being saved, with so many other people by these Boda Bodas in town, I still feel like that was not basically the main reason. The main reason as to why my whole entire perspective changed, the second reason why my entire perspective changed, is because I realized that these Boda men are also humans. They also have lives. They also have families to look after. They also have children to look after, and that is their source of income. I'll give you a scenario. One day I was in town and I got a Boda, a safe Boda actually, and the guy who was driving this Boda, who was transporting me, had very good English, very eloquent, very, educated, and you could hear that from the small talk we were actually having. So I got very inquisitive, me being me, I got very inquisitive and asked him if he was educated, and he said yes, I'm educated. He actually had a bachelor's in marketing. Yes, he had a bachelor's in marketing, and he was laid down during the COVID-19 pandemic. The company was not able to pay everyone who was in the company, so they laid off a few of their workers, and he was among those people. So I was really shocked and very hurt on his behalf, and that just shook me and let me know that people who are driving Boda Bodas in town have lives, they have things they're going through, and that is their way of earning. And banning them out of a city would not be the best idea, because everyone wants to work in the capital city. Why? Because that is where people are moving up and down 24/7. So definitely you're going to get more customers there than anywhere else. So even though Boda Bodas have all those negatives I've stated earlier on in the video, they also do have the positive side of it, and I think what we would do best is controlling the negatives rather than banning them, from the capital city and all that. So I did have a few solutions that maybe could help us, maybe that could help us to achieve a much better environment for the Boda Bodas and, other people to stay in the capital city. Number one, registering them. I think registering Boda Bodas again, like every Boda rider in the city or in the country, should be re-registered, so that we know in case of anything, in case someone knocks another person, we are sure that their Boda is registered and you can easily access them. Also, registering could help us, because I feel like even when someone does something wrong, because these days what what people do is they wake up, go to Yamaha, buy a Boda and start riding it instantly without even registering, without even us going through any sort of paperwork. So that's why even when they do the wrong things they are doing, cause accidents, cause congestion, go against the traffic lights and all that, they are doing that because they are not registered, and they know no matter what they do, you will never find them, even though you search heaven and earth. Number two, giving each Boda rider a designated workplace, or what we normally call stages here in Uganda. And I've already seen in different places, some of these Boda gentlemen or men have stages already in existence at different places, and they know in that stage, in that designated workplace, they know each and everyone, they know each other. Therefore, you cannot do anything wrong, because they will get you and they'll catch you. And that's why I feel like the KCCA could also improve it by giving each Boda rider a certain workplace or a certain stage where they are registered to, so that we know exactly where to find them in case of anything, in case of any accident or anything they have done. Number two, workshops. Workshops are very important, because during these workshops you can tell them the do's and don'ts of what to do, what not to do, because some of them do not even know the traffic do's and don'ts. They are not aware. As I told you before, all they do is wake up, buy a Boda, start riding, don't even have a permit, nothing, not registered, nothing. So I feel like it would be good for these Boda riders to have workshops. And workshops, there is a certain kind of misconception about workshops. People think that workshops are only for people working in offices. They think workshops only for teachers, people working in big offices. But I think workshops could also work very much with Boda riders. And lastly, I think the KCCA could make these Boda Bodas better by supporting their circles, because I know these Boda Boda riders normally have those circles where they come together, save together, solve problems together. So I think if the KCCA could empower and support these circles, it could actually help them in re-registering. Are you seeing how everything is coming together? So help them in re-registering. Through these circles, they can also have workshops. Through these circles, they can have, it's an entire cycle. So I think it still goes back to, instead of banning people or dismissing a problem, how about solving the problem? So those are the few ideas I had in mind, that could help us with solving this problem of negativities of Boda Bodas in the city center. But it is sad, it is very sad that we have these great ideas in our minds. There are so many young people who have amazing ideas, but the issue is these ideas are never implemented. Somewhere in between implementation and finance, I don't know what happens in between there. Somewhere in between finance and implementation, the policies die a horrible death. Oh, and that reminds me, among the various ideas, I think the initiative of Safe Boda in Uganda, the Safe Boda app and the Safe Boda, organization is very good, because the organization is able to follow up every rider that is under their list, and it's a bit organized. And it's rare for you to find a Safe Boda carrying a passenger without a helmet, or doing something wrong on the road, disregarding the do's and don'ts, the traffic lights and all that. So I think if you could have more organizations like those, Boda Bodas in the capital city will not be a problem. And in Uganda, we shall have, efficient transport systems. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, this is the bottom of it. Do not forget to comment in the comment section. Let me know, have Boda Bodas saved you a lot? Have you gone through a Boda Boda accident? Let me know in the comment section some of your solutions, actually, the solutions you have that could maybe improve the Boda Boda transportation in our capital city center. But that's all I had for you. Thank you so much. See you next time.